Hello students, welcome to the Hindu News Analysis by Bajirao IAS Academy. Today we will discuss some of the most important news articles and they are relevant for both prelims and mains examinations. Okay, and they are not just relevant for UPSC, they are also relevant for state PSC examinations. Please subscribe to Bajirao IAS Academy YouTube channel so that you will get all important updates regarding different classes which we are coming up with. So these are the set of very important and relevant news articles for today's discussion. The first important news article is a position paper, China's image and what it means. Recently, China has released a position paper on its ties or its policy on Afghanistan. Okay, and this position paper clearly demarcated what China's engagement will be. So, what will be the Chinese engagement with the Afghanistan, and how it wanted to engage with the Afghan neighbors also, and what are the issues which are presently concerning or emanating from the Afghan region. And the second important news article is de-dollarization of international economy. See, in recent past, de-dollarization of international economy has gained traction. Why? Because of the sanctions which have been imposed by USA on different countries, and food security, fuel security, uh, you know, like concerns have also raised the trade within their respective currencies between different countries. As part of this, several countries have also started the Vostro account and the Nostro account. Okay, Vostro account and Nostro account. These accounts are primarily intended to enhance trade between two countries. Okay, this is particularly for bilateral trade. India's first national water body census. India for the first time conducted the national water body census. Different water bodies have been mapped across the country, and the condition of those water bodies have also properly analyzed. When we have a census data, it will be helpful for us to revive or rejuvenate such water bodies because they play a very key role in ecosystem services and also ensure food security and also livelihood security. We will discuss this article also because see, this is very important for prelims exam. UPSC may ask this question about the national water body census. This is conducted for the first time by Indian government. And the next important article is scheduled caste status for Dalit converts. Former CJ says Enquiry Commission can finish task in a year. There is the scheduled caste status is not extended to people. Earlier, they are Hindus and converted to Islam. Either they converted to Islam or Christianity. Islam or Christianity. Okay, so if these people converted, the scheduled caste people converted to Islam, Christianity, they will not be given the scheduled caste status. Okay, so in order to examine this, the union government appointed Balakrishnan committee. Okay, Balakrishnan committee, and the committee is to submit its report. In this context, we will understand what exactly is this commission and what is the purpose, why the converted people to Islam and Christianity were excluded from the scheduled caste status. The next article is, this is very important, ISRO to start online training for college students. This program, otherwise called as START program. Okay, this is called as START program. Please remember START. And the last important article is, in anonymous decision, Arab League readmits Syria after 11 years of absence. In this context, we will try and understand what is Arab League and why Syria is being readmitted again into Arab League. Why Syria is expelled from Arab League 12 years ago. Okay, now this is the first and very important news article, a position paper, China's image, what it means. See, if you are a candidate with a political science and international relations optional, okay, PSIR optional, this is very relevant. Okay, this is very relevant. But in UPSC paper 2 also, GS paper 2 also, some points you can write as part of the international relations. Okay, a few points, they are very important. So please listen carefully what this article is saying about, right? So in April this year, in April, Chinese foreign minister, okay, Chinese foreign minister, his name Qin Gong, okay, his name Qin Gong. So Chinese foreign minister, along with his counterparts from different countries. The countries include Russia, Iran, Pakistan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan. So these are all the Central Asian countries. Okay, apart from Russia, China, all the countries are Central Asian republics. They are also called as CAR countries. Now, the Central Asian Republic countries, along with Pakistan, Russia, and China, they met in Samarkand. Okay, they met in Samarkand. So this meeting is particularly to discuss the future of Afghanistan, how the policy should be with respect to Afghanistan. Okay, so these are all the countries which share border with Afghanistan. Okay, they are the neighboring countries of Afghanistan. Okay, so this meeting has coincided with the release of a position paper. Okay, China released a position paper on its policy on Afghanistan. Okay, on its policy on Afghanistan. See, every country have a particular policy towards other country. Okay, a particular policy towards the other country, and as part of it, after the overthrowing of the democratically elected government in Afghanistan, and the sudden withdrawal of U.S. forces from Afghanistan, and Taliban rule in Afghanistan, the countries are increasingly concerned about the security situation in Afghanistan. Okay, they are increasingly concerned about the security situation in Afghanistan because of radicalization, fundamentalism, terrorism, extremism like concerns. So, because of this reason, Beijing has come up with a policy on Afghanistan. Okay, so this policy document titled as China's position on the Afghan issue. So what will be the Chinese position on Afghan issue? This is actually a 11-point program. Okay, this is actually a 11-point paper. Okay, so this is the China's position on Afghan issue is a 11-point paper, and this is particularly important for two specific reasons. Okay, what are those reasons? The one such reason is the Chinese involvement in Afghanistan, vis-a-vis Chinese involvement in Afghanistan, because it gives a clear indication of Beijing's policy towards the crisis-ridden country. When Beijing or China have a clear policy document, and this will give a clear indication of Beijing's policy towards the crisis-ridden country, because Afghanistan is now a crisis-ridden country, no political stability. Okay, the country has no political stability, and the country has also been suffering with the food security challenges, food security related challenges, and the country has also been suffering with extremism, terrorism, radicalization, and also the human rights violation, women rights violation. uh, Girl child are not allowed to go to schools. Okay, now because of these reasons, this country is also called as a crisis ridden country, and the areas it will prioritize its engagement. When China has such a policy document, then it will prioritize the areas of engagement with the Taliban. Currently they are ruling Afghanistan. Okay, however, the position paper of China on Afghanistan, it clearly delineates core principles which inform Beijing policy choices. Okay, it has certain core principles, and this policy paper has also emphasized on three respects. Okay, three respects and three nevers. So, going ahead into the article, we will try and understand what are those three respects and three nevers. The first thing is that China, it's the policy position, the position paper says that China respects independence, sovereignty, territorial integrity of Afghanistan. Right? So any country which wanted to build stable and sustainable relationship, that must respect the other country's independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity. And the policy paper has also mentioned the same. and also the independent choice, religious sentiments, national customs of the Afghanistan people. Okay, China will respect independent choice, religious sentiments, and national customs of Afghan people. Okay, however, these principles are contradictory in Chinese opinion. Okay, in Chinese opinion, these principles, what are those principles include respecting independence, sovereignty, territorial integrity, Afghan national customs, Afghan people, are generally contradictory to what West follows. Okay, what West follows. So according to Beijing, West believes in, or West policies are informed more by geopolitics and their vested interest. Okay, so it says that China has been prioritizing Afghans' national interest rather than their own national interest, and it is also, countering the Western policy towards Afghanistan. It says Western policy is more driven by the geopolitics and the vested interests. So, as per China, Afghanistan is currently transforming. So, it says Afghanistan is currently transforming, even though it is ruled by the Taliban that doesn't enjoy legitimacy. Okay, Taliban doesn't enjoy legitimacy in the eyes of the international community. China says Afghanistan is currently in the path of a transformation. Okay, because under the United States, uh, you know, there was instability, turbulence when United States was in Afghanistan. Okay, when United States withdrawn Afghanistan, now it is a transforming towards a path of stability. However, Chinese policy position, okay, this position paper also says that there was a failure on the part of West in fulfilling the commitments of Afghanistan. Okay, we all know that USA has a presence in Afghanistan, but around 20 years. Okay, USA has present in Afghanistan for around 20 years. Okay, even then 20 years it has failed to deliver the promises. It is failed to fulfill the commitments to the Afghanistan. Okay, for example, West intervened militarily in Afghanistan, and West also tried to enforce its conception of democracy without actually taking into account the distinct characteristics of Afghan society, Afghan customs. Okay, so this is also largely resulted in the failure of West's policy in Afghanistan. Okay, however, along with that, USA has also imposed in recent past unilateral sanctions. Okay, unilateral sanctions and illegally freezing Afghans' foreign reserves. The USA, as of now, USA has freezed Afghans' foreign reserves. Now, when USA freezes Afghan foreign reserves, it is not possible for Afghanistan to import essential items. Okay, essential items for this country. And apart from that, USA has also imposed unilateral sanctions on Taliban. And China calls in this policy position, uh, in this position paper, China calls the reversal of these actions. So, what are those actions? Actions include unilateral sanctions, okay, unilateral sanctions, and secondly, freeze on forex reserves, okay, forex reserves. And this policy position calls China to reverse the USA to reverse these actions. Okay, now this position paper has also urged the international community, okay, all the member countries of international, you know, the world called as the international community, and China has also urged the international community to view Afghan issue as a comprehensive, balanced, and in an objective manner. Okay, it should be viewed in a comprehensive, balanced, and objective manner. Along with that, China has also advocated alternative regional groupings. Okay, so apart from directly engaging with the West in developing Afghanistan, China has called for alternative regional groupings like Shanghai Cooperation Organization and Moscow Format Dialogue. Okay, so Moscow Format Dialogue also include all the Central Asian Republican countries, Russia and China. Okay, this Moscow Format Dialogue is also focused on Afghanistan security and overall security in the region, in the Central Asian region. And apart from SCO and Moscow Format Dialogue, China, Afghanistan, Pakistan Trilateral Foreign Ministers Dialogue. Okay, these are all alternatives regional groupings. Okay, these are all alternative regional groupings, and China wanted to engage with these alternative regional groupings to find out a sustainable solution to the problem of Afghanistan. Okay, so this is primarily to discuss the Afghan issue. And this policy paper also says that China will help promoting alternative models. Okay, will help promoting the alternative models as opposed to the policies which were earlier followed by West. And those policies or those alternative models will ultimately benefit Afghan. Okay, Afghanistan. This ultimately benefit Afghanistan. Okay. However, along with that, this policy paper also says that focus more on priorities and a form of consensus among Afghanistan's neighbors. And it go ahead, it move forward with the a set of priorities and consensus among Afghanistan's neighbors. Okay. However, the concerns with respect to the concerns on the part of China with respect to Afghanistan's include threat of terrorism. One concern is threat of terrorism that particularly emanating from Afghanistan, and a potential harm uh, terrorism can cause to Chinese interests and Chinese uh, personal. Okay, this is a very particular. This is a very serious concern for China. Okay. However, China now has been calling bilateral and multilateral approach to respond to the three forces of terrorism. Okay, three forces of terrorism, extremism, and separatism. Because in Shanghai Cooperation Organization also there is a structure called Regional Anti-Terrorism Structure. Okay, Regional Anti-Terrorism Structure (RATS). So China is also concerned with the three forces of terrorism, extremism, and separatism. So even though China has been opposing this terrorism, which concerns China, China on the other hand openly supporting Pakistani-based terror groups and terrorists. Okay, so openly supporting in the United Nations Security Council not to impose sanctions on those people. Okay, so for example, Hafiz Saeed. Okay, and China blocked several times attempts to impose sanctions on this individual. China openly supporting terrorism and terrorist organization, and on the other hand it is trying to uh, you know uh, build a regional consensus around terrorism and extremism and separatism, and this would not yield positive results in the long term for China. Okay, and China has also urged Taliban and other regional countries, along with the international community, to crack down on terror groups. Currently, there are apprehensions or speculations that Afghanistan is a new ground for ISIS. Okay, ISIS, because ISIS Khorasan province has already operating uh, in from Afghanistan. So therefore, China has also urged Taliban, regional countries, and international community to crack down on terror groups, and that specifically include the East Turkestan Islamic movement, and help Afghanistan in augmenting its capability or counter-terrorism capability. Okay, so this policy document says that it will help augment Afghanistan's counter-terrorism capabilities because it is concerned with terrorism, extremism, and separatism. However, the question with respect to the question of refugees and narcotics and their cross-border trafficking. Okay, so we already know that this Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Iran region. This is also called as the Golden Crescent. Okay, Golden Crescent. The Golden Crescent is an area where the drug cultivation is, there's a large, highest amount of drug cultivation in the world, along with the Golden Triangle also. So Golden Crescent is located in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Iran. Now the refugees is because primarily a conflict, because of conflict or a crisis, humanitarian crisis. There is also a refugee crisis, and narcotics drug control problem is primarily because of the Golden Crescent. And the cross-border terrorism is also a major concerns, and this policy paper has also highlighted refugee problem, narcotics, and border trafficking. And however, Afghanistan has a very important strategic location, because Afghanistan is a link to the South Asia and the Central Asian region. Afghanistan is generally a link to Central Asian region plus South Asia, and Afghanistan will also build, a link for China. Afghanistan is also a link for China to Middle East, Middle East, and also Central Asia. So, because of this strategic location of Afghanistan, uh, building long-term sustainable relationship with Afghanistan for China economically very important. Okay, so this is economically very important for China, and China has also been constructing or going ahead with the Belt and Road Initiative across all these countries. Belt and Road Initiative across all these countries. And please remember, Afghanistan is also known for a rich mineral resources. So therefore, is China building such relations with Afghanistan is nothing without any gain. Afghanistan play a crucial role in connectivity. It's because of its strategic location, and it will also help further China's Belt and Road Initiative. And Afghanistan also has a huge mineral resources. For any growing economy, for any growing country, mineral resources are key. Okay, so therefore, China has been trying to improve its relations or improve its ties with Afghanistan. However, if you see, since the beginning of 2023, China has taken several steps. Okay, those steps try to project China as a more responsible player in the international arena or the international community. Okay, so these incremental steps try to entrench its image as a major country, playing a crucial role in ensuring global governance. Okay, ensuring global governance. Yesterday we have uh, discussed about the COVID-19 pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic. So along with that, the debt trap diplomacy of China. Debt trap diplomacy of China. So these aspects of Chinese policy have been creating negative perceptions about China. So therefore, since the beginning of 2023, China has been taking several proactive steps to entrench or to enhance its influence and image as a major country, playing a very crucial role in global overall global governance, and also creating a moderate and pluralistic environment for dialogue. So, how can we say that China has been taking proactive steps for a moderate, pluralistic environment for dialogue? The best example we can give is the Iran and Saudi Arabia deal. Okay, China successfully mediated Iran and Saudi Arabia deal. So both these countries have come together. So therefore, it is one way we can assume or we can infer that China has also created a moderate and pluralistic environment for dialogue, and that would create a positive image in the international community towards China. Okay, recently China has also released a concept paper on global security initiative. So you may get the question, which country launched the global security initiative? Okay, global security initiative. Which country launched this global security initiative? Now, global security initiative is launched by China along with the global civilizational initiative. Global civilizational initiative. So the global civilizational initiative also we have discussed, okay, yesterday. in yesterday class. So both these initiatives have been launched by China. So apart from this, the peace proposal on Ukraine was also uh, put forward by China, and along with that, a position paper on Afghanistan is also released. So these are all steps indicate China's incremental steps. Okay, China's incremental steps to entrench image of a major country, playing a crucial role in global governance. And Beijing quest to modify its image. Beijing wanted to modify, change its image, and solidify its role as a responsible mediator. Solidify its role as a responsible mediator. Please understand, now the responsibilities of USA has been shrinking, and that has been creating some room for countries like China. Okay, some room for countries like China, and they are filling up the vacuum. Okay, they are filling up the vacuum, and China now wanted to act like a responsible power in the international arena, and it wanted to entrench its image, its position as a more responsible and a very crucial country. And this is also evident from the success of bringing together Iran and Saudi Arabia. Bringing together Iran and Saudi Arabia once they were rival. And recently, leaders like Emmanuel Macron or several European leaders have also paid visit to Beijing. So all these have been indicating that China's role, in the international community or in the global arena has been increasing at a much wider scale. Okay, so this is all about the position paper, Chinese position paper on Afghanistan, and why China has released such a paper. Why China has released such a paper on Afghanistan? Because of it is part of several steps taken by China, several incremental steps taken by China to entrench its image as a major country playing a crucial role. Okay, so the next important news article is with respect to de-dollarization. Okay, de-dollarization of international economy. So because please understand, the monopoly of dollar is not in the best interest of the international economy, because unilateral sanctions imposed by USA has also impacting countries' ability to import products. So apart from unilateral sanctions, it has also impacting the domestic currencies values heavily, and sometimes it is becoming hard to borrow because the interest rates are very high for those countries, and this also impacting the domestic markets. Okay, it has also been impacting the domestic markets. So what happening is, when there is a huge flight of foreign currency or the forex reserves out of Indian market, and that has been impacting the domestic markets, and that led to further depreciation of Indian currency. Okay, further depreciation of currency. So apart from that, recent crisis like Russia Ukraine crisis. So in this crisis, because of a limited oil markets, India have a very limited oil markets. We all know that. Okay, a very limited oil markets, and USA has also imposed sanctions on Iran. Also imposed sanctions on Iran. Since USA has imposed sanctions on Iran, India cannot directly buy oil from Iran. Okay, so since it cannot buy oil directly from Iran, and very limited oil markets, India has gone to Russia for buying oil, buying cheaper oil. However, USA has also imposed sanctions on Russia because of the Russia-Ukraine war. Since USA has imposed sanctions unilaterally on different countries, and that has been impacting India's energy security, not just energy security but food security at the international scale. And different countries have been mooting the idea of the uh, de-dollarization of economy, and also trade in their individual currencies. Okay, trade in individual currencies. So we several times also discussed what is Vostro account, and nose through account. Okay, goes through account and nose through account. So in this context, we'll try and we understood the background of this article, and we'll now try and understand this article, what exactly it has been saying. Now please understand China, India and Russia, so they are trade partner for currencies. Okay, now they wanted to trade in their partner currencies, in their respective currencies, okay, instead of paying the US dollar. So imagine a situation now, India, Russia. Okay, India and Russia. The earlier example is India is importing oil. India is importing oil from Russia. Now, instead of paying Russia in US dollars, India can pay Russia through Russian currency. Okay, Russian currency, ruble. Okay, so this is the one way of de-dollarization of the bilateral trade between Russia and India. So in the same way, China, India, Russia have been planning to trade in their respective partner countries instead of paying in dollars. However, because of this reason, there is a speculation. There is a speculation that the economy or the international markets have been moving towards the de-dollarization. Okay, they have been moving towards the de-dollarization of the international markets. So, as part of this article, we'll try and understand whether it is true or not, whether the international economy, different countries like Russia, China, and India can reduce the influence or the dominance of the reduce the dominance of the US dollar. Please understand the status of US dollar as a preferred currency for international trade, as a reserve currency has been a result of, it is not the result of any purposeful policy or international agreement. Okay, so there is no international agreement and there is no purposeful policy to make US dollar a preferred currency for international trade or a reserve currency, but it is because of, it is closely aligned, the the strength of US dollars to become an international currency for international trade is closely aligned with the rise of US. Okay, since US is a very strong economy, US has a very strong economy and it has a very strong influence across the globe, and that has also given Philip to US dollars. Okay, that has also given Philip to US dollar, Philip to US dollar, and because because of US rise, US dollar has also significantly increased its influence across the international market. As one of the world's strong, now US is one of the world's strongest economies. It has a very deep financial system and a stable government. So because of these reasons, US dollar has become a preferred currency for international trade, preferred currency for international trade, and also a reserve currency for several other countries. However, this is not free from competitors. The US dollar is not free from competitors. There are several other competitors. For example, Great Britain's pound. Okay, Great Britain's pound is one such competitor, and apart from that, Euro also. European Union Euro is also one such competitor over a period of time for US dollar. Okay, so the Great Britain found and the European Union's euro have from time to time have challenged the dominance or the influence of US dollar. However, the dollar seems to have continued its dominance uninterrupted. So it continued to have its dominance over the international markets. Okay, over the international markets. Now understand the presence of US dollars, the usage of US dollars according to a report from International Monetary Fund. Okay, according to a report from the International Monetary Fund says that dollar share in total foreign exchange reserves have fallen from, it is around 80 percentage in the year 1979. Okay, so it is around 80 percentage across the different countries in forex reserves of different countries. Total US dollar share is around 18%. Now it has come down to 60%. Okay. Now it has come down to 60% in the year 2022. Now euro has made up of 20%, 60% of US dollar, and euro made up of 20%, and the remaining 40%. Within the remaining 40%, euro constitutes 20%, and there is a room which has created because of the fall in the dominance of US dollar. Okay, so you can observe a fall in the dominance of US currency by at least 20%, at least 20% from the year 1970 to 2022. Okay, 2022. However, please understand, India's biggest supplier of oil is Russia, followed by Saudi Arabia, Iraq. However, USA is still India's biggest trade partner. USA is India's biggest trade partner. So even though India wanted to de-dollarize, even India wanted to de-dollarize its trade, it is not possible because still USA is India's largest trading partner. India's largest trading partner. Okay, largest trade partner. Yes, of course, it can transact with Russia in do rubles or their respective currencies. Still, USA as a largest trade partner for India, it is not possible. It is not immediately possible for India to de-dollarize the its a foreign trade. Now, according to recent data, this is according to the recent data. So, moreover, Russia's importance as an oil supplier is primarily because of the deep discounts which are offered to Indian refineries by Russia. Okay, so Russia is not a long-term supplier. Russia will not be a long-term supplier for India. Why I'm saying, why this article says that Russia is not a long-term sustainable supplier? Why? Because now traditionally, European Union, the largest buyer of natural gas and crude oil from Russia. Natural gas and crude oil from Russia. Since Russia-Ukraine war, Europe has significantly reduced its dependence on Russia for natural gas and crude oil. Okay, natural gas and crude oil. So because of this reason, Russia has been supplying India with cheap oil. Russia has been supplying India with cheap oil. However, if the situation becomes normal, then Russia's prices will also be equal to the countries which we are sourcing oil from, the Middle Eastern countries like Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iraq, etc. Okay, so it is also equal to these countries. So therefore, it is not a long term, and it is not a long term supply, and such discount will not be sustainable over a long, and this further casts a doubt on the long-term viability of common currency. Okay, now because we are sourcing oil from Russia, okay, we are sourcing oil from Russia and we are also paying Russia in rubles. Now what happens if we reduced the oil trade with Russia? Okay, one day Russia increases its oil prices. Russia increases its oil prices and it becomes unsustainable, unviable for India to import oil from Russia. And then even if we have rupee ruble trade with India, that will not make any sense. So that will not make any sense. So this is what the article has been saying that, and this further casts some doubt on long-term viability of common currency or reciprocal trading arrangement between China, India, and Russia, because the geopolitical compulsions have also made India, or geopolitical compulsion push India closer to US in the recent past, whether it is about the security concerns, technology, defense, trade. So in all these aspects, along with the geopolitical compulsions, and they have pushed India closer to US. Now understand, along with the general acceptability as a medium of exchange. Now, US dollar has general acceptability as a medium of exchange. Okay, so medium of exchange for international trade. US dollar has also demand because uh, several assets have been denominated in US dollar. Okay, in across the world, several assets have been denominated in the US dollar. Since it is denominated in US dollar, the dollar has a huge demand along with the medium of exchange for international trade. However, along with that, several countries have pegged their currency with the US dollar. Okay, they have pegged their currency with the US dollar. For example, gold, the value of gold, the value of currency is pegged with the gold. Okay, value of currency is pegged with the gold. So, in the same way, the value of several currencies, countries, several currencies is also pegged with the US dollars, and several other countries directly use dollar as their own currency. Okay, so they use dollar as their own currency, and this has meant that a huge proportion of US dollar reside outside US. Okay, so in fact, because of the denomination of assets worldwide in dollars and accepting dollar as a medium of exchange for international trade, and several countries using dollar as their own currency and pegging their own currency with the US dollar, and all these measures or all these factors make that there is a huge proportion of US dollars outside the US, and China itself have a huge amount of US dollars in its forex reserves, a huge amount of forex reserves in its dollars, because China has acquired dollars with a significant amount of trade with US over tens of years, okay, over several decades. And over in turn, China has used these dollars. Okay, China has used these dollars to project or to fuel its economic might across the globe. Because now China has been funding several infrastructure projects across the globe using US dollars. Okay, using US dollars. So therefore, it is not immediately possible to de-dollarize the international economy or the international market. However, please also remember, China has also used dollars for investments in strategic projects abroad. Okay, it has been coming up with several strategic projects as part of the Belt and Road Initiative. Okay, the best example is development of a port in Coco Islands. Okay, development of a radar station in Coco Islands. So, as like the development of a radar structure, China has also developing several strategic structures or strategic investment structures as part of the Belt and Road Initiative, Maritime Silk Road, Maritime Silk Road. Okay, so all these feeds into the demand for dollar. Okay, all these factors will further increase the demand of dollar and strengthens its importance in the international financial system. So undoubtedly, it will further strengthen the influence or importance of the US dollar in the international financial system. However, if any currency which has been competing to take the position of US dollar or as an international reserve currency, will have to offer all these services. Okay, will have to offer all these services, and the author has been saying that there is no such potential currency which can take up all these roles as US dollar has been taking. Okay, so this is not a trivial task that can be achieved over a short time period. Okay, so this is not an easy task, and even de-dollarization of international financial system is not immediately possible. It is a gradual process, because the countries have already taken steps. Okay, the countries have already taken steps for bilateral trade and currency swaps. So therefore, it is a gradual and a long-term process and not immediately possible. Now, please also understand, now the countries which have been fighting to substitute US dollar with their own currencies. There are several countries, okay, so they wanted to substitute their currencies with substitute US dollar with their own currencies when it comes to the international trade or when it comes to the forex reserves. Okay, so the author says that their intentions were understandable. Their intentions are clearly understandable. Why their intentions are clearly understandable? Because of the monopoly of the dollar, because of the monopoly of the dollar, and also the unilateral sanctions being imposed by USA, and restrictions. It poses restricts or restricts trade. It restricts international trade. Now, uh, since being the supplier of international reserve currency, USA is traditionally known as, its dollar enjoying a dominant position across the globe, okay, across the world. If US wanted to borrow, if US wanted to borrow from the other countries, since it has a huge demand, okay, we discussed it has a huge demand. If US wanted to borrow from any country, then countries are ready to offer US loans with a very low interest rate. Okay, low interest rate, with very low interest rate. Since US is able to source funds with a very low interest rate, US is able to meet its debt obligations. Okay, US is able to meet its debt obligations because of the high demand for dollar across the world, and the loans are issued at a very lower interest rate. So therefore, if any country's currency has such a enjoying such a dominant position across the globe, it has a huge demand in the international market, then that currency will definitely enjoy the premium. Okay, so this is generally called as dollar premium. Okay, this is generally called as dollar premium because of its international demand. Dollar has been enjoying huge demand across the globe. Okay, so US is able to raise loans at a lower interest rates compared to the other countries. And if any country's currency has such a huge demand across the globe, then they will also raise loans at such a cheap interest rate, and they will also be able to meet the debt obligations. And this has been further elaborated in these two paragraphs. And it relaxes the fiscal constraint substantially because they will pay a very low interest rates. Okay, if they raise loans at a lower interest rate and the payments to pay interest is very low, and they will also boost issuing government's capacity to borrow, having to deal with the negative effects of borrowing. Okay, so they will have a very less negative effects while they borrow. And this phenomena is often called as dollar premium, and is something that many other governments would like to have, including that of China and Russia. The very same advantage or very same premium, sorry, also wanted to enjoy it by the so they also wanted, countries like China and Russia also wanted to have such a premium or such a position. Now, this is the next important news article. This is with respect to India's first national water body census. Okay, first national water body census. The first national water body census is recently released by Ministry of Jal Shakti. Okay, it is recently published or released by Ministry of Jal Shakti. Why it is necessary? Uh, why India should conduct a census, a water body census? It is because of the following reasons. Okay, it is because of the following reason. The first reason is India has now been facing water crisis. Okay, India has now been facing a severe water crisis. Availability, lack of availability of clean drinking water, and the pollution, the groundwater decline, the lack of aquifer recharge, biodiversity losses, climate change, and increasing frequency of floods and droughts. Okay, increasing frequency of floods and droughts primarily because of the climate change and polluting existing the groundwater resources. Okay, so in this context, water bodies are very important. In this context, increasing water crisis, groundwater decline, biodiversity losses, climate change. So in this backdrop, in this context, water bodies are very important. However, they water bodies also buffer against the climate vulnerability, holding flood waters for use in dry periods. If there is a dry period, if there is a prolonged dry period, and the water in those water bodies can be used for irrigation and drinking water purposes, and even fishing and navigation. Okay, so they contribute to food and water security. Okay, they also contribute to food security and water security. And apart from this, they also ensure enhance. the livelihoods of people by recharging the groundwater and providing water for irrigation livestock. And these water bodies also have a cultural and ecological significance. Okay, they also have a cultural and ecological significance. Now, in recent past, water bodies across the country are under threat. Okay, they are under threat because of uh, the pollution, encroachment, urbanization, and drying. Okay, so because of these reasons, these water bodies are increasingly under stress. Now, apart from this, these water bodies have to be conserved and managed as effectively as possible. Okay, so when we are able to conserve these water bodies um, effectively, conservation possible more efficiently, then uh, the above mentioned, the food security, water security, livelihood security can be protected. And we should also need action plans that required a baseline data. So when we have a baseline data, when we have a proper baseline data, and that will enable us, the baseline data will enable us to understand the possible threats. Okay, to understand the possible threats faced by water bodies. And since water bodies are managed at a several levels, whether it is a state level, local level, and any private entity, so different entities manage these water bodies, and these data must be uniform and easily accessible for different stakeholders who are engaged in the conservation and management of these water bodies. However, to actually manage the water bodies, the contextual data, that is also the baseline data generated using different tools, should be integrated with the traditional knowledge of the local communities. Okay, so because local communities are very key and important stakeholders, they have traditional knowledge. Okay, they have a traditional knowledge, and traditional knowledge should be integrated to the baseline data or the contextual data, and that can be used for that could be integrated and can be used for effective conservation and management of these water bodies. However, we have a data regarding reservoirs, rivers. Okay, so this data is available with Indian Water Resources Information System. Okay, Indian Water Resources Information System. For example, for large water bodies, we have information, we have a data. However, for small water bodies, we do not have enough information. For smaller bodies that are lifeline, smaller water bodies are lifeline for rural India. Why they are lifeline for rural India? Fishing. Okay, fishing, irrigation, drinking water. Okay, irrigation, drinking water. Because of all these purposes, they are often called as the lifeline of rural India, and they also have a critical cultural, flood control, and recreational spaces in cities, and they also have a huge ecosystem services, and they also arrest the biodiversity loss. They also arrest the biodiversity losses, uh, and that will help protect, conserve the ecosystem services. And how was this census conducted? How actually the census has been conserved? No doubt the census is a massive effort on the part of the Ministry of Jal Shakti, and this is actually the first ever, please remember, this is the first ever water body census that was conducted by the Ministry of Jal Shakti to map all the water bodies across the country. What is the objective of the census? The objective was to develop a national database with information on size, purpose, ownership, status, conditions of water bodies. And the objective is having a national database. Okay, having a national database. So with size, purpose, ownership, and etc. However, this covered all natural human-made units, and they are bounded by storing water irrespective of condition or use. Okay, so it will cover either it is a man-made water body or it is a natural water body. Okay, so units bounded on all sides for storing water irrespective of condition for use. However, when we, the first ever water body census is because either small or large man-made or natural water bodies are properly mapped in this water body census. However, uh, Generally, when census conducted on water bodies, satellite data is being used. Okay, satellite data is being used. However, satellite data is unable to capture all the water bodies. It is unable to capture all the water bodies. However, this constraint has been overcome by this water census, and this has also covered the small water bodies across the country. Now, what does this data show? Okay, the first water body census, what does this data show? However, it says that most of the water bodies in the country are very small. Okay, however, this means that locating and keeping track of them is likely to remain a a very big challenge. When water bodies are very small, it is a very difficult task to keep track of such a water bodies. And secondly, the data shows that the water bodies show regional patterns and that correlate with rainfall. For example, there are states like Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Rajasthan. So they are a very large, a very large water bodies, and these water bodies are very often owned by or publicly owned. Okay, these water bodies are publicly owned. However, on the other hand, there are several wet states. Okay, several wet states. So wet states include Karnataka, Kerala, okay, Karnataka, Kerala. So in these states, there are several, medium-sized water bodies, and they are very often owned by the private individuals or the private entities So therefore, it shows a regional patterns across the country, and it is very often correlate with the rainfall. However, the third aspect of it is that water bodies have never repaid and rejuvenated. So these water bodies so far have not rejuvenated and repaid, despite the government's concerted efforts to rejuvenate those water bodies, because they are the lifeline, or they are very important uh, for the livelihood security, water security, and food security, and also protecting the biodiversity of a region. Okay, biodiversity of a region. Okay, so they are not repaid or rejuvenated. In fact, several water bodies have been classified as not in use, and despite the interest in rejuvenating water bodies, these water bodies have not been repaid or revived. Okay, so there are some clear gaps. Okay, there are some clear gaps within the first ever water body census also. So, what are those gaps? These water bodies have an important role in supporting biodiversity, no doubt about that. So they play a very important and key role, and they also harbor fish, birds that feed and provide roosting and breeding spaces for resident and migratory birds. And this is also part of protecting the ecosystem services, protecting or conserving the services ecosystem services. Now, these ecological functions are related to the size and location of water bodies. However, this water body census, the first ever water body census, have seen the water bodies only exclusively for human use. Exclusively for human use, it is largely neglected the role of water bodies in supporting biodiversity, and also supporting or conserving the ecosystem services, and the ecological functions have been neglected by these water body census. Okay, so these are a very clear gaps in the first ever water body census. And finally, this such census should be conducted every 5 to 10 years. Okay, such a comprehensive census should be conducted for every 5 to 10 years, so that there will be a comprehensive database. Okay, a comprehensive database is available across the country about the condition of these water bodies. And when we integrate the traditional knowledge with the available data on these water bodies, rejuvenation of these water bodies will is possible. Okay, rejuvenation of these water bodies is possible. Along with the rejuvenation of water bodies, it will also support a wide variety of ecosystem services. Okay, it will also support wide variety of ecosystem services. Along with that, it also has a human use, large scale human use. Okay, so this is all about the national first ever national water body census. Okay, the next article. This is also a very important article. The SC status for Dalit converts. Okay, the scheduled caste status to Dalit converts, and there was a committee appointed by KG Balakrishnan committee. Okay, uh, the center appointed KG Balakrishnan committee. Okay, KG Balakrishnan committee, and this committee is tasked with deciding whether the people, for example, after independence, what happened was there were certain categories, okay, certain castes, the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and OBCs. Okay, so OBCs. Now, please understand, if a person is converted into if a person originally belonged to the scheduled caste category, and he converted into either Christianity or Islam, or Islam, he will lose his scheduled caste category. He will lose his scheduled caste category despite belonging to the scheduled caste category. Why? Because the rationale given for this is the caste discrimination. The caste discrimination is only prevalent in Hindu religion, who is only prevalent in Hindu religion. So, therefore, if a person converted into Christianity and Islam, he should not be given the scheduled caste category status. Instead of that, he will be treated as the backward classes citizen. Okay, he is treated as a person belonging to the backward classes. However, Hindus, the backward Hindus, or even a person is being converted into Buddhism or Sikhism, Buddhism or Sikhism, he is still treated as a scheduled caste individual. He is still treated as a scheduled caste individual, even if he is converted into Buddhism or Sikhism. However, there were several petitions filed in Supreme Court. Okay, so those petitions are you know, they're pending for since 20 years. Okay, these petitions are pending for 20 years. So what these petitions want? These petitions want that this should be reversed. That even if person converted to Christianity and Islam from a scheduled caste category, he should be recognized as a scheduled caste. He should be recognized as a scheduled caste. He should not lose his scheduled caste category, because despite his conversion to Christianity or Islam, still he is facing the social discrimination. Still he is facing the social discrimination in the society. So therefore, he should be treated as a scheduled caste individual instead of the backward classes person. Okay. However, the center has constituted a committee under the chairmanship of KG Balakrishna to decide this. KG Balakrishna. Okay, KG Balakrishna. So to decide whether the scheduled caste which were converted into Christianity and Islam should be given the scheduled caste category. So, however, please remember, in the year 2007, there was a committee called Justice Ranganathan Committee. Okay, there was a committee called Justice Ranganathan Committee, and Justice Ranganathan Committee has recommended that if a scheduled caste person has converted into Christianity, and Islam, he should be recognized as, even if he converted into Christianity and Islam, he should be recognized as a scheduled caste individual. So, based on this committee report, there were several petitions filed in the Supreme Court that they should be recognized, even if they converted into other religions, they should be converted into, they should be considered as a scheduled caste individuals. However, Center has appointed another committee under KG Balakrishnan, and this committee has been examining the conditions of people who have been converted to Christianity and Islam from the scheduled caste. Okay, so KG Balakrishnan says that he is actually the former Chief Justice of India, and he says that the Enquiry Commission can finish task in an year. So within an year, they will finish the task and submit the report to the government, and accordingly, the government will take the decision. Okay. So please understand the Constitution Scheduled Caste Order 1950. Okay. So the Constitution Scheduled Caste Order 1950, and this order says that SC status can only be accorded to Hindus, Sikhs, and Buddhists. So there is no place for Islam or people converted to Christianity. People converted to Christianity. Okay, so this scheduled caste status can only be given to Hindus, Sikhs, and Buddhists, and this is mentioned in the Constitution Scheduled Caste Order 1950. However, the BJP government has been opposing this. Okay, the BJP government has opposed to including giving SC status to people who converted to Islam and Christianity. The BJP government has been opposing. Why the BJP government has been opposing? For example, there is a reason for that. Uh, if the government if the government considers people who are converted into Islam and Christianity as a scheduled caste, then more and more people will convert into these religions. Okay, more and more people will convert because of they are enjoying the scheduled caste benefits. So they will be treated as a scheduled caste. So there is a more probability of converting into these religions. Because of this reason, the government has been opposing this move, and the party is also exercising caution against the legal pitfall, and calling it a seminal and historically complex sociological and constitutional question. It is very sensitive and it has a potential impact. Okay, it has a potential impact. However, the KG Balakrishnan panel also study changes Dalits go through on converting. Okay, so once they converted from Hinduism to Islam or Christianity, what changes they will go through will also be studied by KG Balakrishnan committee to other religions. So in terms of their customs, traditions, social and other statuses, as well as discrimination and deprivation. So if they feel such a discrimination, deprivation, and their social traditions or their social customs or their social status changes after converting. Okay, there may be chances that they will not be treated as a scheduled caste category if their social position improves. Okay, now also understand look at the present status of the law, the past amendments and center's argument in this case. So what does the law say now? So the 1950 law, okay, the Constitution Scheduled Caste Order 1950, so this provides for only those belonging to Hindu and Sikh or Buddhist communities are categorized as scheduled caste. Okay, they are only categorized as scheduled caste. So, how were Sikhs and Buddhists included? So, the Kalelkar Committee or the Kalelkar Committee in the year 1955 and a high powered committee in the year 1983. So, both these committees were recommended that there should be an amendment to include Dalit Sikhs and Dalit Buddhists in scheduled caste in 1956 and 1990 respectively. Okay, so because of the high powered committee in the year 1983 and Kalelkar panel report 1955, based on the report of these committees, Buddhists and Sikhs, the Dalit Buddhists and Sikhs were also included in the SC category status. So, what is the center's argument? The religions included in SCs under the law or branches of Hinduism. So, both Buddhism and also Sikhism were actually the branches of Hinduism. So Dalits who are converted to Islam or Christianity cannot claim to be backward. They cannot claim to be backward since untouchability is a feature of Hindu religion and its branches alone. So untouchability is only prevalent in Hindu religion and its branches. So therefore Islam and Christianity should not or cannot claim, or people converted into these two religions should not be claimed as untouchable. Okay, so there was a 3-member committee was appointed under the chairmanship of Justice Chief Justice KG Balakrishnan. Okay, KG Balakrishnan. So when the center appoints a committee, it will have a substantial amount of data on the conditions of people who are converted from scheduled caste to other religion like Islam or Christianity, so that the a proper decision could be taken by the center. Okay, so the next important news article is ISRO to start online training program for college students. The name of the program is START program. Okay, the name of the program is START program. So what is a START? program. The START program includes, the name of the START program is Space Science and Technology Awareness Training. Okay, space training and technology awareness training. Okay, so ISRO announced a new introductory level online training program. This is just an introductory level online training program. Online learning program. Now, the START program aimed at postgraduate and final year undergraduate students. Okay, so the aim of the program is to, uh, you know, um, it is particularly aimed at postgraduate and final year undergraduate students of physical sciences and technology. The academic institutions can submit applications for the program through Jigyasa portal. Jigyasa portal, the academic institutions can apply, can submit their application for the START program for the undergraduate, final year undergraduate students and post graduation students. So the program will cover the domains like the space science, astronomy, astrophysics, heliophysics, sun earth interactions, and instrumentation aeronomy. Okay, so it will be delivered by scientists and Indian academia at the ISRO centers. The START program is part of ISRO's efforts to enable Indian students to become professionals in the space science. Okay, so it will enable Indian students to become professionals in the space science and technologies as organization space science exploration program continues to expand into new domains. So the program is intended to give them an overview of different facets of the field, research opportunities, career options in the space domain. Okay, ISRO is also offering several remote sensing courses in collaboration with National Remote Sensing Center. Okay, National Remote Sensing Center has also offered two new courses, but you have to remember the START program. So ISRO has started the START program. So what is the START program? Space Science and Technology Awareness and Training Program. This is an introductory level online training program. Okay, introductory level online training program. So next important news article is with respect to Arab League, and Syria is being readmitted into the Arab League after 11-year absence. Okay, after 11-year absence. Now, first we have to understand what is Arab League. So, Arab League is just a union. Okay, this is a union of Arabic and Arabic speaking African and Asian countries. Okay, Arabic speaking countries, both they are both African, East African countries, African and Asian countries. And this grouping, the league was Arab League was formed in the year 1945 in Egypt capital Cairo, and this promotes the overall objective of the Arab League is to promote independence, sovereignty, affairs and interests of its member countries and observers. Okay, this is the overall objective of the Arab League. However, the organization originally have 7 members. Okay, 7 founding members. The organization originally have 7 founding members and is now comprised of around 22 members, and Syria being the new entrant into this group. Okay, this group has also observer members, and this league is bounded by a charter. This league has a charter and council in place to ensure that its goals are met in a time bound manners. So these are the member countries. Please go through all the member countries of the Arab League. Okay, so they include Syria, Tunisia. This will be new entrant. Okay, Syria, Tunisia, United Arab Emirates, Yemen, Saudi Arabia, Somalia, Sudan, Qatar, Palestine, Kuwait, Jordan, Oman. So uh, these are all the member countries of Arab League. Okay. Now the Arab League on Sunday welcomed back Syria's government. Okay, Syria's government, ending more than a decade-long suspension and securing President Assad's return to Arab fold after years of isolation. So far, uh, Syria has been, or President Bashar al-Assad has isolated. Okay, why he is isolated? Because November 2020, 2011, there was an event. Okay, so I mean, in the year 2011, November, this 22-member body suspended Syria over its crackdown on a peaceful protest which began earlier that year. Okay, that eventually led to the civil conflict and killing 5 lakh people. Okay, 5 lakh people. So after this crackdown on peaceful protest, Damascus or Syria was removed out of the Arab League. Okay, so the significance of Syria bringing back to the Arab League include the keenness to launch a leading Arab role in efforts to resolve the existing Syrian crisis and also its humanitarian and political consequences. So, noting that humanitarian aid must reach to all those in need. Okay, now Arab League will proactively take part in the humanitarian crisis or the political crisis which has been taking place in Syria. Okay, so these are all the important and relevant news articles for today's discussion. Okay, that's it. Thank you.